And Bill, thank you for making time for me. We are here at ASTA's Field Crop Seed Convention, actually in the very room that you were presenting yesterday on stewardship. Thank you for making time for me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for being here.
Why don't we start by you telling me a little bit about your role?
Yeah, so I lead the Global Product Stewardship team at Corteva. Essentially, I'm located in Johnston, Iowa, and I've been with the company 26 years. And over that time, have come to this position where, our responsibilities are really to kind of help advance our products through all the different cycles that they go through, and really kind of shepherd products with using good stewardship practices. So excited to be here and be able to talk about that and how it's everybody's responsibility.
Excellent. So yesterday in your presentation was an hour long. It feels cruel to ask you, but can you condense down just to a few snapshot minutes of what are the most critical messages about stewardship that you want to get out?
Sure. I think one of the things is maybe demystifying what stewardship is. Stewardship is the responsible management of products from their inception all the way through their use and ultimate discontinuation. And so what that means is it's something that's a shared responsibility across the entire value chain. We think about from a Corteva perspective, what we talked about yesterday was the fact that, as a company, we have different devices that we use, such as technology use agreements, training, auditing, all as a part to be able to facilitate good stewardship to ultimately help bring innovations into the marketplace through our seed products, as well as make it clear to growers what the best practices are so they can maximize their benefits of those innovations. And all those tools, such as, agreements we have, or the different types of activities that that we provide and facilitate, it all provides an opportunity for us to share in that responsibility. Whether you're a dealer, whether you're a licensee, whether you're a Corteva employee, whether you're a farmer, it's important to understand what are their obligations, what are the things for best practices, again, ultimately leading to maximizing value of an innovation and ensuring that we have customer success and ultimately freedom to operate with bringing new innovations behind the ones that we have in the current generation of seed products.
So let's dig into that a little bit more. What would be some examples of good stewardship?
Great question. And really, examples of good stewardship really come down to, I think, at the grower level, it's understanding what your product is and what the management needs are for that product. So, for instance, if you have a herbicide-tolerant seed product, understanding not only the fact that, are there any grain restrictions or planting considerations, but also when it comes to herbicide use, weed resistance management, what are the things that could be done to make sure that you have a product and, managing across both seed and crop protection, durability of that product, and you get the best benefits out of that product. So that's from a grower perspective. As we think about, what the responsibilities are for our licensees and Corteva employees and our dealers and reps and so forth, it's helping growers understand what those obligations are as well. And so it's really, again, it's stressed and yesterday and today as well, that it's a partnership of us being able to clearly outline how these innovations work, how to benefit from those, and ensuring that the grower ultimately knows at the end of the day what I need to do. All those things together work together for what I'd call freedom to operate, meaning that responsible use of a product ultimately leads to success, ultimately leads to, as well, benefiting not only the grower, but also the broader community that they're within. And so the responsible use of a product and the fact that used in a way that benefits that local community is also a big deal. And it's important that we understand that products stay where they need to stay, activities are done the way they need to be done. And we spend a lot of time and energy, researching these products, developing these products, and helping educate so that they do in fact have, that they're used correctly. And once they are, we get along with our neighbors. And those neighbors ultimately help, good, bad, or indifferent, they ultimately can, in fact, provide either positive or negative feedback as it relates to the regulations that we see. And so it's really important that that continuum is a partnership so that growers do have success with those innovations.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So you spoke about responsibilities and obligations, but then you also touched on the benefits. Can we dig a little bit more into the benefits for Corteva, for farmers, for the industry as a whole, and really society?
Absolutely. And I'll go back to the piece on innovation. One of the things I talked about yesterday and just I reflect upon is, where we started, thinking about feeding a bigger population, and where we started with just corn in 1930, where yields were, roughly about 30 bushels the acre. Today, the average yields are almost 200. And those innovations are critical to feed a bigger population. We need to make sure, as we think about access to innovations, that there are those elements of freedom to operate, meaning that growers race against biology, whether it is with crop genetics to be able to improve yield and yield stability in different types of environmental conditions. It could be traits related to insect species or weed species that we're trying to fight against. Growers are fighting against biology, and we need to be able to bring innovations. If we, in fact, want to do that with reasonable regulations, we need to make sure that everybody is working together to be able to, again, ensure that products are used appropriately, and that at the end of the day, that again, those use guidelines benefit us all. So as a result, Corteva, we need to be very clear in what our products are, what those regulations are, and we advocate for growers in those spaces as well to bring reasonable regulations. So it's a practical approach to being able to use the product. We communicate that clearly to our licensees and to our dealers, to our rep networks, so that folks understand how to communicate that further. And ultimately then as well, both Corteva, licensees, dealers, all communicating that to growers. So they know, what's the product I have? How do I use it to be successful? And ultimately, again, that leads to that broader continuum. And that's what good stewardship is being able to use a product responsibly and us all holding hands that ultimately fuels more freedom to operate within the space.
So I can imagine, I believe, that stewardship is something that generally people agree with. But it tends to be a little bit human nature to say stewardship maybe is something that somebody else is responsible for. Who ultimately is responsible for stewardship from Corteva's perspective, from your perspective?
All of us. Actually, within the company, we say that at Corteva we have 21,000 product stewards, and that's the reality. The entire company has a level of responsibility to manage our products well, whether you're in research or whether you're in the commercial side or whether you're at a seed plant. We all share that responsibility to make sure that if we see something, we say something. And so that's something from a Corteva perspective. But again, ultimately, we all share in the partnership of good stewardship because we all interact with growers at different levels in different ways. And we need consistent messages about the proper use of technology. And again, understanding what these innovations, these technologies are, how to use them, and having a consistent message. And when we all do that, again, we benefit from an environment that has reasonable regulatory obligations and so forth. And that's the world we live in, with society pressing back against certain technologies and certain perceptions. We need to be able to do well in our communities, and we need to be able to illustrate these products are safe. These products do provide real value. And when we have environments where things don't go well, we see regulations that restrict either use of the product or even the product itself. And when that happens, we aren't able to bring our innovations to the marketplace. Growers aren't able to benefit from the biology challenges they're facing. And everyone in between, whether it's licensees or dealers, we have to go back to products that may not fit the best bill and may not create the kind of success that we need with our growers to fuel ultimately, their ability to sell and so forth. So again, it's a balance, and as well as an important partnership for us all.
And ultimately a very good news story for Corteva, for farmers, for all of the seed industry to be moving forward in the stewardship direction.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Is there room for additional improvement? Are people adequately meeting their obligations, or do you feel like this is something that needs continuous effort?
I think, first of all, I'd say that I think it's a job well done. When I think of farmers, I think of they're the original and the best stewards of the land, and we think about all of the things that they're trying to do. So I think, they have a very keen focus on productivity and their needs, and also how to do things responsibly. We've seen that with adopted practice over time. So I think as an industry, we're doing a good job, but we can always improve. And I'd say we always need to be adaptable because, again, society, regulations, things change. And we need to make sure that we're not just sticking with what we did 5 years ago, 10 years ago. There's new dynamics that exist within the ag market space, with new traits, with new approaches. And with those technologies, it's important that those nuances are understood. And again, we share the responsibility of communicating it to our licensees and to our customers, and our customers clearly understand how to use those products. So number one, I think we do a great job as an industry, but I think there's always, we can always pay attention to that, and we always need to pay attention to that because things have changed and they will continue to change.
Bill, thank you so much for making time for me. I really appreciate it. A great conversation.
Thank you. Appreciate it.